We are back. It is 2025. It is the Killshot MMA podcast from DFS Army UFC. I don't even fucking know what number. They're at the Apex 101, apparently. Monk is telling me it is Dern Ribas 2. We got a rematch that no one asked for, but it's here. And 14 fights, but you know what? Not complaining. Bunch of weeks without fights. 14 fights, going to break it all down from a DraftKings angle. Going to go through each fight, maybe get some betting insight along the way there. I'm Sniper. Monk is with me as always. Monk, how was your holiday? How was your new year? And more importantly, are you as ready as I am for some MMA DFS?
Oh my God. Spoiler alert. We're about to talk about Joe Selecki, and I've never been more excited to do so. Yeah, I know that's a bit of hyperbole, but honestly, I am extremely excited to have fights back. I think we have a pay-per-view next week, and I'm pretty sure it's a freaking banger. Is it next week or is it the week after?
I don't know. All my days and weeks are off.
It's coming up, and I am so stoked for that. But yeah, 3 weeks without fights. My God, the holidays are nice. It's nice to have a break as a creator. But man, I sure did miss fights, guys.
Well, look at this way. We got a break coming too. So it's next week is 311 Makhachev Sarukian 2. That is the rematch we all did ask for.
Rob.
And then we have a week off already.
Oh, that's like when you send your kids back to school on like the Thursday, and then Labor Day happens. It's like, brother, why didn't we just send them back after Labor Day? What is this bullshit?
To be fair, we come back to Adesanya, Imavov, and then the week after Duplessis Strickland 2.
All right, I'm not complaining, but all right.
So
4 out of 5. I'll take 4 out of 5 weeks.
Let's knock through UFC Vegas 101 Dern Ribas 2. Hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening anywhere else, make your way over to YouTube. Hit the like button. Check the links down below. More importantly, getting yourself in the DFS Army Discord. Tons of breakdowns going for all sports. DFS, I get the prop package going. I know Geek goes on much longer rants about that. I think my New Year's present to you guys is going to be, I'm going to skip the rant for this episode, but I'm going to try and start bringing up more on that props package. The top of some of these shows, because quite frankly just should be. And I do a little bit on YouTube myself. Mostly it's the shorts I do for DFS Army. I put up my own with some picks, but I think this week I'm going to roll out my own MMA show, kind of best bets. I'm going to roll through every fight on the card. Be minimal breakdowns. So if you're watching this, don't worry too much about it. Mostly I'm going to pick out my favorite bet for every fight of the card. So that's over on my YouTube channel, Sniper Wins. And Monk, go take a look at Monk Maddox. I don't know. You always have different shows and shit going on. Make sure and go follow Monk Maddox.
Yeah, check that out on there. I'm doing some more YouTube videos on my channel. I've taken a few months off to get my new sheet going, my round by round data, and I think we're there, guys.
So now that we've done our shameless self-promotion, I think we're ready to get in to UFC Vegas 101. Have to start off the top. There are 14 fights on this card, as I've said a few times. 2 cancellations, 2 short notice replacements. Let's talk about those. Nurullo Aliev was supposed to take on Yanal Ashmouz. Ashmouz is out. Aliev will now fight Joe Selecki. The aforementioned Joe Selecki is in. The other replacement, Preston Parsons, was scheduled to fight Andreas Gustafsson Berg. He pulls out. Parsons now takes on Jacoby Smith, and Jacoby Smith on short notice, we'll talk about later, is installed as a massive favorite in that fight on short notice. A little interesting. We will get there. We're going to start at the bottom, work our way up. I don't know. I'm working on fight odds. I don't know what the order of this card is going to be. I'm just going to use this. If we go out of order, sue me. I don't want to bring up Tapology either, because that site is death to your computer.
What I have. So
pretty close.
Yeah.
If anybody from Tapology or knows anybody from Tapology, your site sucks the living shit out of all my computer usage. I like the site,
dude,
but it's I have 2 tabs open. I can't click anywhere else.
It's probably Chrome's fault. I know if you use Opera, and I don't work for Opera, but the ads don't come up. But on Chrome, like what everybody, it's unusable.
It's brutal. Anyway, let's dig into this card, and we're going to start with one of the short notice replacements fights. Joe Selecki taking on Nurullo Aliev. Aliev's a big old -600 favorite. Joe Selecki, the comeback, is +425. Your fight goes to decision is -275. That's a pretty big goes to decision number, especially with the odds. And that means that our salaries are pretty spread apart. 9,500 for Aliyev. Selecki is 6,700. I'm going to do my buddy a favorite here because I know this is a short notice fight. And just in case he's not fully prepared, I'll go ahead and I will take this one first. While Selecki is a big underdog, and I do think Aliyev wins the fight, I think Selecki's a little bit undervalued here. Minus 270 to go to decision. You can argue that Selecki, just for that reason, is cash game viable. I can argue, though, that Aliyev is going to want to wrestle. He is that type of fighter, relentless wrestling, and Selecki is a good submission player. I think Selecki could see some time off of his back looking for submissions. And that is where the danger comes for Aliyev. Selecki is live to that submission win. That coupled with there are better underdogs on this card. There's a flat out better odds value play, and there's goes to decision. Then there's a flat out couple picks I like in that range, including one that makes me want to slit my wrists, which we're going to get there later. And if you know the card, you know me, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And I'm picking him as a dog, and it hurts my insides. We'll get there later, though. So with all that, Selecki's live. I think I couldn't quite pull this trigger on a Selecki upset here. I think Aliyev wins. At least Aliyev's going to want to wrestle. 9,500 is a lot. It's crowded up in this high 9.5 range because there's 14 fights and a lot of big favorites. Aliyev's got some upside. I think there are better spots both guys. There are better spots for both guys in this range. I prefer Aliyev. I think he wrestles. I think he scores average to above average. And Selecki live for a couple shots. His exposure gets hurt because of how many fucking fights there are on this card. But I'll mix in a little bit. So the pick is Aliyev. Monk, you got a more decisive first fight breakdown of that. I didn't go balls to the wall here on the first one.
No, you did pretty covered all the ground pretty well. I'm also picking Aliyev. Selecki, steps in at the exact salary that who was Aliyev fighting? Wasn't he 6,700? Wasn't he always 95 and 67? Or no?
Yeah, he was fighting. I think that one added late. Ashmoose. Yeah, it was something like that too.
Yeah, Aliyev was always, his salary didn't change. It's still 95. So Selecki steps right in there. That's probably fine. My concern is Aliyev doesn't. I mean, he had 10, almost 11 minutes of control time against Rafael Alves. He landed 19 significant strikes. He ended up scoring like 91 or 93 points, something like that. 100% of his significant strikes went to the head. He landed just 3 takedowns, so 1 per round, I assume, and just racked up control time and didn't do much else other than drop, non-significant strikes. And it wasn't even a Mackenzie Dern type level. It was, about 70 or so. So like I said, he didn't score very well. Joe Selecki, I'm sure, is going to give him a little bit more trouble. Well, maybe. He did get taken down, I think, 3 times. I believe, if I have to scroll all the way back up here. He got taken down 3 times in his last fight, Grant Dawson. So
that's Grant Dawson, though.
Yeah, it's Grant Dawson. So yeah, I'm thinking Aliyev wins, but I mean Selecki, like you said, I'm looking elsewhere for points. Selecki doesn't generally score the best in wins. It's pretty middle of the road. Same with his points given up when he loses. So yeah, I'm gonna probably kind of sit this one out a little bit.
Yep. Don't disagree with you there. Let's move on to, gotta get used to. Oh yeah, links up here. I haven't navigated Fight Odds IO for a podcast in a little bit.
I was gonna say, I opened my notes today and I was like, wow, let me shake the dust off these bad boys.
All right, I posted this in Discord earlier. I need someone to explain to me, like I'm a toddler, why Fatima Klein is minus 1,200 on Jazz against Victoria Dudakova. The comeback around her, depending on the site, is around plus 600. Fight goes to decision, minus 215. You get minus 215 for 3 rounds of action from a fighter who is priced at 6,400, taking on 9,800 Fatima Klein. While I gather myself, Monk, you do the initial breakdown, please.
Yeah, Klein was, made her big debut against Double J, Jasmine Deshuta-Vicious. Very, very tough out. Obviously, she lost that one. Jasmine kind of dominated her. I mean, it wasn't a domination per se, but it was not very close. To be honest, it was kind of surprising to a lot of people. I know she was 8,400 that week, and a lot of people had her rostered. So she actually put Jasmine on the optimal lineup as well. It is extremely wild to see 9,800 coming off an $8,400 loss, and Dudakova is a huge step down from Double J, but she's not like the worst
Also,
of the worst. Like,
I'm gonna help. I'm gonna help you a little bit rather than waiting to the end. It's a literal step down a weight class. Klein fought up a weight class on short notice against Jazz.
Yeah.
That is the narrative here, is that Klein was up a weight class on short notice against Jazz DeVicious.
Yeah, that's true. And what did I write? Something about Karma might end up coming back to Dudakova. So don't just play 0% of Klein. Karma's got to come back for that fluky arm break that happened in her debut. So don't just play 0%, but how can you play like 10% of Fatima Klein here? Like, I think Dudakova is fine as a punt. Like you said, I think this goes 15 minutes. Well, I don't know if you said that, but you mentioned that Vegas thinks that. I agree. So yeah, as long as she isn't being completely dominated by Fatima Klein, who scored 1.6 points a minute against Jasmine Jasudavicius, she's absolutely worth a punt. Nothing crazy. I'm not talking like even 15-20% probably, but not zero.
Yeah, like pretty much exactly what you just said. I came close to picking Victoria Dudakova. I'm going to be really honest with you. And as up a weight class, I get it, but she lost to Sam, a split decision to Sam Hughes, who's solid. Right. Is she a world beater? No, but that's a solid performance. And Fatima Klein, real no UFC experience. I believe she was the Fury FC champion, I believe. Mm-hmm. Looks okay, looks legit. On pay, eye test, I think probably looks a little better, but it is low level women's MMA, high variance fight, 98, 6,400. If Klein could score 125 and at this price tag still not make the fucking optimal lineup.
Yep.
She could. I mean, obviously that's not a lie, but there's tons of possibility for that to happen. Mm-hmm. If Fatima Klein breaks this light, I've lost, and I'll move on to next week. That just is what it is. I think you have to pretty much lock in Dudakova in cash games. She's viable. She could end up on the optimal in a loss. Now, granted, 14 fights, it's hard to do. You just need a couple dogs to win. But if we get all favorites late, and I'm going to pick a few dogs. So.
And if you're playing 6,400, your options are anything, right?
Right.
The world is your oyster, as they say.
The world's always your oyster, Monk. You just gotta take the day and make it your own. But in terms of skill set, I get it. Klein looks a little better, but I don't really know. I guess see her fight somebody in her weight class in the UFC.
She does train and hang out with Blanchfield a lot. You can read into that if you can. But so
9,800 is too much. So I'm gonna pick her, but no interest in DFS. Negative interest.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about Magomed Gadjiyasilov.
Works for
me. That
me.
Sounds right. Magomed Gadjiyasilov taking on Bruno Lopez or Lopes. I don't know. Let's call him Lopez. It's one of those that I should look up before we start, and I just don't. Now I feel stupid. Gadjiyasilov is minus 210. Lopez is plus 180. Fight ends inside the distance. Is minus 200. Your DraftKings salaries on this one are relatively attractive. Gadjiyasilov is 8,800. Bruno Lopez is 7,400. Personally, I like Gadjiyasilov quite a bit here. I think it's an OV doing things that an OV should do. He's going to want to wrestle and grapple, and he should have success against Bruno Lopez. Lands power, can look for a finish, can get a submission, all of that good stuff. But it is a... for what it's worth, Lopez does have dynamite in his hands, and if him catching Gadjiyasilov coming in wouldn't surprise me at all. I want to have a bunch of both sides of this fight. I do lean more on Gadjiyasilov. That's who I'll have more of. But live dog on the other side with power in his fist. Other than that, I can't find much of a reason to pick him and just sprinkle him in on DraftKings. Monk, how about for you?
Yeah, I did say in my notes that he'd probably be fine in all formats, but that's just because he's sub 9K, and he likely gets a win, I think. Both guys here have actually fought Brenson Hibeto. Magomed beat him. Lopez did not. Then Lopez comes back and beats some dude named Mikhail in his second DWCS fight and puts up, he would have scored less than 82 points in that win. So neither guy is really blowing the doors off of the place with their DraftKings, their potential DraftKings scores in DWCS or their one DraftKings score in the actual UFC. So the only thing I'm somewhat looking forward to with Gadzi Zulov is his 5-for-5 takedowns on Hibeto. That's a good sign. So 100%, more than one per round. See if he can pull that off against Lopez. So even though I said they're good for all formats, meaning both cash and GPPs, I'm not going crazy with my. I still put this as a 3-star fight. I'm not going crazy with my ownership, but I don't trust either guy. I'll probably be average on both, and I'll probably have more of Magomed than I do Lopez.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm with you here. Let's move on to Ernesta Caracate. And I clicked too far on her. Ernesta Caracate against Nicole Kalari. Caracate. Carrot cake. Minus 260. Kalakari plus 220. Fight goes to decision minus 215. So again, Kalari, I guess, in theory, would be live here for cash games just based on those odds, but it's hard. You got 6,400 staring you right in the face. DraftKings salaries for this one. Carrot cake, 9,200. Ooh. Kalari, 7,000. Monk, where you going?
It's ugly. That 9,200 is ugly. If there's any silver lining, look, in her first and only UFC fight, Carrot Cake scored 56.75 in a loss. So she still scored pretty well, almost 4 points a minute. She almost had an 8x with a loss, which is something rare, especially with women's fights. So she can put up volume. What's that?
Both of the fights I've seen her have when I pull up in the UFC, yeah, she just looks like she just
volume.
Yeah, well, in this first fight here, I feel like there's a lot of insignificant strikes, right? Yeah, she's like a lot of like this. She just, even if she misses, she just spams the fucking, like, if she was a UFC 4 fighter, she just spamming the X button. Just
Yep.
Come on, I'm going.
And she's not a headhunter either. It's like 74% to the head, 15 to the body, and 11 to the legs. She landed reversal. Right. She landed a takedown. She got 3.5 minutes of control time, and she still landed 3.5 significant strikes per minute, although on Barbosa. So I say that's a pretty good outing, especially at a plus 191 American money line there. So I think that was a really good showing. Cagliari is both women are basically, unproven. Cagliari actually has 10 pro fights. Looked good against Corinne Framboise. I don't know how the fuck to say that, but she got a submission. There you go. Got a submission in the first round. So I actually think there's a chance one of these women could score okay, even if it goes to decision. This one's going to get supremely overlooked, maybe for good reason. But I said in my notes, I'm just going to play a little bit more than the average, just in case. I just have an odd feeling here. I know it's
a little more than the average bear.
Yeah, it's extremely risky to play Carrot Cake at 9,200. But I'll just a little bit of risk, I'll play a little bit.
I'm gonna go anti-risk here. I mean, I get it. I get the move. This is my fuck this fight of the week. And I like Carrot Cake, but 9,200, no, thank you. And that's probably the chalky. It's definitely not probably. It's definitely the chalky opinion. So you want to be contrarian, you can go Monk's way. I think Caracate wins, even if she spams the X button and lands a bunch. She scores 95 points at 9,200 on this card. That might not be enough.
Yeah.
So, think she wins. Think she's a little better. Cagliari, sure, she's live.
In a decision.
She might. Depends how much.
It's interesting.
Yeah, depends how much wrestling we go with.
True.
So yeah, I think Carrot Cake wins. Just not a lot of DFS interest. I believe the next fight we should have some DFS interest. Oh, it's an interesting one to talk. It's well, yes and no.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Jacoby Smith, Preston Parsons. Jacoby Smith on short notice minus 450. Preston Parsons plus 350. Fight ends inside the distance, I believe, was lined at minus 200. Expected to see a finish here and mostly obviously on the Jacoby Smith side, your DraftKings salaries are quite massive. Jacoby Smith is 9,400. Preston Parsons is 7,800. At least the way I saw this one, I had to watch a little bit more Jacoby Smith. It seems like the strength of both guys is wrestling. And Jacoby Smith is a fan favorite prospect, mostly as a can crusher. And he's 9,400 against Preston Parsons. I feel a little uncomfortable. The problem is I don't even get the odds value on Parsons because Parsons was priced earlier in the week when he was a small underdog against Gustafsson. That's not the case. And I'm going to pay 7,800 for Preston Parsons. The only good thing about that is Preston Parsons is going to be like 7% owned. Like no one's going to play him. I could not pull the trigger. And I said it a few times this episode, and I swear I have quite a few underdog picks coming up. Monk has seen my notes, so he knows I'm telling the truth here. I think on quite a few of the same, actually. I couldn't pull the trigger on a full pick here. I lean towards Smith, but I'm really worried about an upset. Like I came closer to picking Preston Parsons than I did taking Dudakova, and I gave that one some real thought as well. More than I probably should have, but yeah, Preston Parsons, they both wrestle. He's got the UFC experience. Is it really going to be that shocking if Smith takes the L here? This is a UFC debut? I don't remember offhand.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is, right? I've just seen him on Contender Series.
Yeah,
that was the fight. That was the reason. That was the fight I watched. I didn't know if he had one in between. Where is it here? Yeah, he's got 7 takedowns against Christian Savoy. And before that was kind of beating up cans. Preston Parsons, if you want a wiki cap, a win over Semmelsberger that he took down 7 times isn't bad. Oban Elliott's underrated. Trevin Giles fights split decision to Trevin Giles. I'm sure he got robbed in that one. And then he got knocked out by D-Rod in the first. I don't think he's that bad. Like it's one of those, I think Smith is better, but until he shows you in the UFC, it's hard to feel good about it. How about for you, Monk?
He's not that bad. And I've played Parsons a couple of times throughout his 5 fight UFC career. Look, man, Jacoby Smith just fucking crushed this kid in DWCS. Like you said, 7 of 8 takedowns, 6 minutes of control time, almost 7 strikes a minute. He gets a finish in the second round. He would have scored 139 points in that fight if that had DraftKings scoring on it. Parsons did not look good against Oban Elliott. I mean, it was actually kind of close. Elliott really probably didn't look his best either. But according to the stats, it was close. But watching it, I remember it not being as close as it was on paper. I'll have to go back and check again. I like Smith here, but 9,400, man, for somebody that has less than 10 fights. I mean, I like it for the takedown upside. We'll talk about another guy that's coming up for the same exact reason. All his offensive numbers look great on paper, but I got one DWCS fight to look at, and I don't even track those in my sheet because I don't count them as UFC fights. You're not fighting a UFC opponent, so it's really a different level. I don't care who you're fighting, if it's Preston Parsons or Bilal Muhammad at welterweight. So it's still a league above. So I'm going to pick Smith. Not too confident. This is a strictly GPP fight, and I will be playing some Parsons as well. How does he score when he wins? It's decent. He's got a decent average. When he loses, his opponents don't really score very well, and he actually scores decently in losses. So I kind of like Parsons, but like you said, it's ruined because of the implied odds value that we do not have.
Ruined. Let's move on. Let's talk Trey Ogden, admittedly a guy I have a tough time figuring out. I think a lot of people do, quite honestly. But he's taking on Thiago Moises. Moises is minus 185. Ogden is plus 160. This line must have opened. It's funny that it opened at minus 210. It's because there's no real pick'em fights this week because this is the second closest line fight on DraftKings in that it's 8,300 for Moises, 7,900 for Ogden. Instant odds value here for Thiago Moises. I think he will be super chalky in cash games. I think rightfully so, by the way. It is a minus 230 to end to go to decision. Monk, was I first for this one or for you? First time I've lost track.
I think it's me. And I'm gonna have a non-popular opinion here. Thiago Moises does not score well, like, ever. In fact, the one time he did score well, I think, was against Costa. And in fact, I've added in this new sheet, and I'm calling it the sniper stat because occasionally, and rightfully so, and later I'm going to say Mackenzie Dern scored 153 points, and you say, yeah, but what's her average if you don't have that fight? Well, guess what? I have that stat, and if you take out the 113 points that Thiago scored and his lowest score, we got to be fair and balanced. 85 points is what he averages per win. That is a complete dog shit. It does 10x his $8,300 salary, but what are we doing here? We got 28 fighters. I'm not going to town for 85 points. So Moises, very, very poor scorer. He performs well against guys like Mitch Ramirez, Melky Costa, Christos Giagos, Michael Johnson back in 2020. Like, he's losing to good guys, but the only guys he's really beating are kind of like the lower end of the division for the most part. Trey Ogden, unproven, but he definitely has an extremely good wrestling base, a great defensive base, which does not translate to DraftKings points. But honestly, unless Ogden gets rocked or makes mistakes, mistakes that he doesn't often make, how is Thiago Moises going to score on this dude? Like, his defense is really off the charts. So I don't know, man. I picked Trey Ogden. I think this is a low scoring fight, but I picked Trey Ogden to win, and I'm going to be lower on Moises than majority of people this week.
I overall don't like the fight for DFS. I agree with that, except for cash games. I think in cash games, just plug them in, move along. 8,300 minus 190. It's fine. Like, it's cash games, no issue there. Tournaments, I agree with you. I think he could get a little overowned. I don't love his scoring upside. I have it as a 2-star rated fight target. And the only reason it's not a 1-star fight is because of the odds value at minus 190. And it really is that easy, or that simple. Moises is in the top of the division, but this is a step down to the guy he loses against. Trey Ogden's okay everywhere. Like you said, good defense. And we'll see if I keep getting him wrong. I think he's service. He reminds me almost of sounds so bad, a poor man's Jim Miller. Like, he's good everywhere. He's solid. He's going to hang around for a while.
He goes for it less. Like, Miller will go for those subs. I don't think Ogden would. He just likes the control.
Right. So
I like that.
That's kind of, but I think Moises is a step up here, and I think Moises wins. There's not much interest for DFS as we had covered.
Yeah. Can you believe, if most of you people out there, how old is Thiago Moises? Don't look.
So you set me up here. Now I'm going to say he's like 30.
29. He's 29 years old. Brother has 30 UFC fights.
If you didn't tee it up like that, and so somebody said, how old's Thiago Moises? I probably would have said 33, 34.
Exactly, yeah.
That's probably what I would have said.
I couldn't believe it.
So I knocked it down. Now I'm like, let me get a nice round number here. I almost was like 25. How old are you, sir? 25. All right, let's move on. Let's talk Marco Tulio Silva and Ihor Potieria. Tulio Silva, minus 500. Porteria, plus 375. Fight ends inside the distance. A big boy, minus 500. Tulio to win inside the distance, just himself, minus 340. Expecting him to score just a couple points here. DraftKings salaries. Tulio's 9,600. Porteria is 6,600. I'm going to break it down because I'm first, but this is where I would spend up. This is the favorite I like. Porteria, I think, is a fraud. Tulio, we don't know anything really about him yet. So maybe I'm a little worried about the price tag, but Porteria is going to just kill or be killed, which is fun. He's a fun fighter in that regard, but Tulio Silva's above him in level. I think we'll get the real test of what Tulio Silva is next time out. Not really this time. I think they're setting him up perfectly. This is a winning spot. I like Tulio quite a bit. I like him in all formats. He's my preferred pay up on the entire card. Monk, how about for you?
I don't mind that. In fact, if you ask me what's going to happen here, I'm going to say, majority of the time, in fact, a good majority of the time, Tulio gets the finish over Potieria. You should draft accordingly. 9,600 is expensive for a debutant. I do not like paying up for that kind of juice on guys that have no experience, but it's probably fine this week. However, and I wrote this on my thing, Potieria is awful, but the guys he's losing to, for the most part, Carlos Olberg, Adolfo Bellotto, Michel Pejeda, Cesar Almeida. These guys aren't like the scrubs of the scrubs. Nicky Gums might be a scrubby scrub. Who was well over the hill, and Robert Britchick maybe, whatever. So the dude's 2-5 in the UFC. I get it. I'm just making the argument to please don't go all in on Tulio, guys. The stats on Potieria, even though he's 2-5, the round by round striking numbers are kind of crazy. This dude scores extremely lands a ton. 3.76 in the first round, 5.89 in the second, and 4.3 in the third. So it's consistent and it's pretty good accuracy, like 55% accuracy in the second round, and that's 18 minutes spent in the second round. So if he's not going to get finished early, I am extremely worried about Tulio. I am not putting this dude. I don't play parlays anyway, but I wouldn't put this dude in a parlay. DraftKings is different. Play him in GPPs, but I'm personally playing a little bit more Potieria than normal, just because this has fucking big time upset special written all over it. Potieria does his stupid gun dance again, and everybody gets pissed.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. No thanks.
So that's a possibility.
That's gonna hurt real bad if that happens. I'm on the other side of that one. And we'll leave it at that as we head on over to Felipe Boons.
It's either Boons and Lopes or it's Boonez and Lopez. We got to pick.
Felipe Boonez.
There we go.
I don't know. Probably wrong. Probably sound like an idiot. Against Jose Johnson. Boonez is the dog plus 160. Jose Johnson is minus 185. More about that in a second, kids. Fight goes to decision is minus 125. And your DraftKings salary, before I give it over to Monk, your salaries are Jose Johnson is 8,600. Boonez is 7,600. Monk, who you got?
Yeah, this is probably like kind of a 50-50 fight, 60-40. I'm leaning Johnson. I picked Johnson. I just gave this 3 stars all around GPP fight. I'm not touching it in cash. Boonez is hard to gauge based on stats because he has one fight and it's against Joshua Van, and we all know about Joshua Van.
Ruined stats.
Well, we also covered him recently at the end of last year, and he's an extremely slow starter, and he gives up a lot of points in the first round, and he gave up a lot of points and a lot of strikes landed against Felipe Boonez. But in the second round, we all know what happens with Joshua Van. He just like switch.
Joshua Van makes Chito Vera look like a fast starter.
Yeah, for sure. It's literally 0 to like 120. Yeah, but it takes 5 minutes, but when we get there, we fucking get there. So Boonez's stats are all fucked up because he's got good offensive numbers from that first round, but his defense is completely obliterated, like you mentioned. So I like Jose Johnson just because of the experience mostly. He has pretty good defense in his own right, at least when it comes to striking. His takedown defense is dog shit. His control defense is dog shit. So we'll see if Felipe can do anything. But right now, as it sits, I'm about 50-50. I want to see ownerships on DFSArmy.com before I kind of make any decisions, but I'm going to be right about average with the field here. I do prefer Johnson a little bit, but I don't think either one of them is going to score a ton of points, I don't think.
Yeah, here's my problem. I can't favor anyone, especially with a minus next to their name, when they have 35% takedown defense. That is fucking
I called it dog shit, and I think that was not harsh enough.
Like 38%. Sorry. Taken down. Yeah, I get Amabayev, fine. 4 times by Chad and Helliger, twice by Damon Blackshear, 6 by something called a Jack Cartwright, 12 by Ronnie Lawrence is a little silly.
Johnson allows 1.8 takedowns per 5 minutes over his career. 5 minutes, not 15.
Yeah, And if I remember right, Bunez, he got a takedown against round 2 of Van. That's a mythical being
That's
right there,
true.
basically. I have to side. Let me get back to the right fight night here. Next time we want to look up something, I have to favor Bunez even as a dog. He can get takedowns. I think Johnson's got plenty of holes in his game. Price is right. Good GPP stab for both sides. I'm going to play both sides, but honestly, I'll be a little under on Jose Johnson and a little over on Felipe Bunez. DFS Army members, make sure you check out those ownership projections come Friday, but that's how I'll be approaching this one. All right, let's move on to the main card. Uros Medic taking on Puna Soriano. Medic is the favorite, minus 195. Soriano is plus 170 as the favorite. Fight ends at the distance, minus 225. Should be a good one to target. Both guys have dynamite in their fists, and the DraftKings salaries look like this with Medic at 8,700, Soriano at 7,500. This is the first fight. Actually, Gaji Yasilov and Lopes is an all-in fight. For me, I'm going to have a damn near pretty much. I'll be way over on Tulio Porteria. And then this fight is the other 5-star fight I have on this card. It in Medic and Soriano. If they didn't have their last fights, I think you'd be all in on Euros Medic, right? Like before those,
Probably.
you'd be like, yeah, let's go. I mean, how is this going to play out? And just kind of just have it up on screen. I might as well. Medic fought
Semmelsberger. Crazy fight. Go back and watch that one. I love that
fight. Not the last fight, the fight before. He got taken down and beat up by Miktabek Orlabai, and good on the feet. Would beat him up. Omar Morales, like good power in his hands, but he's got 55% takedown defense. Was taken down a bunch by Orlabai, but we wouldn't have thought of Puna as a takedown guy, except he just took down Miguel Baeza 5 times, and you go, wait, what? He did what now? He learned to, and way back in the day, I know Jamie Pickett's trash, but he had 3 takedowns in that fight, but showing the ability to do it against Baeza, beat the snot out of Baeza, which I think is a decent win. It's the world's best win, no, but it's pretty decent. Got 2 guys with power in their fists. I think Soriano's got a little bit of power. I think that Medic is going to have to worry about takedowns. I think the opening is there for Soriano to land a big punch and score an upset win here. And that's what I'm going to take. I'm going to go on the upset side. I think it's a damn near toss-up fight. I've seen an evolution from Soriano. Big power from both. Give me the dog in a GPP special type of fight. What you got?
I agree. I picked the dog here. This is my one and only 5-star fight. GPP special, minus 225 ITD. The over-under set at 1.5. These guys are freaking finishers, man. Both of them have big power. Both of them have crazy good striking over their UFC career. I'm talking like 98th and 99th percentile for both of these guys, like throughout the entire UFC of all time. I take into if I weigh my stats. This has volume, this is accuracy, this is power, mixed together, weighed, and then ranked against everything else. We are in the 98th and 99th percentile for striking here. Absolutely fantastic. There's not going to be much defense, guys. Let's not expect that. However, Soriano's
defense.
Soriano's been extremely difficult to back. I have been, playing him in my lineups. It's been frustrating, especially lately. That Nick Maximov fight, my God, I wanted to. That's why I'm bald. Probably I ripped all my hair out. But yeah, the Earls. It was so frustrating. And then last fight, not only did he beat Miguel Baeza, he fucking dog walked this guy. He put up, I think, the highest score. It's either him or Jasmine. I don't remember. It might have been Jasmine. Put up one of the highest scores of all of 2024 out of completely left field. 5 takedowns landed, 11 minutes of control time, almost 10 significant strikes a minute, 22 total strikes per minute in that fight, guys. He scored like 169 points or something like that. It was insane. So yeah, play this fight for sure. Last thing I'll say, Euros has made optimal in all 4 of his wins. Puna's made optimal in 2 of his 3 wins. Uros's opponents have made optimal in both of Uros's losses. So that's 6 for 6 optimals if you're counting. And then Puna is at 5 of 7 between him and his opponents. Play this fucking fight, guys. I think somebody's going to sleep. This might be the fight of the night, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is going to be a super fun one. All right, let's move on. And I went to the wrong spot here. Oh, I'm scrolling there. It's like Austin Bashi. I'm going to call him Bashy.
Hell
Austin Bashy taking on Christian. I like to outweigh people by cheating and eating tacos Rodriguez. He was a weight bully who missed weight.
Such a weight bully.
Convinced intentionally.
Minus
300 for Bashy. Rodriguez is plus 250. Fight goes to decision is minus 210. Your DraftKings salaries for this one. Bashy. It's 8,900. Rodriguez is 7,300. Monk, I gotta say, I'm pretty high on Bashy, and I need you to talk me down and tell me that it's my Christian Rodriguez, anti-Christian Rodriguez bias, because I really like Bashy.
Can't do it. I like Bashy, and I'm gonna smashy him into my lineups this week. That's right.
If he loses, DFS Army members are going to be super sad because we're both on him.
It is. Maybe one of the other guys will have something, but honestly, listen. Here's why I don't like playing debutantes, but at least this guy has 13 fights, right? And he's sub 9K. Another huge point in my love for Austin Bashy this week. Listen, I hate Christian Rodriguez. I don't hate him. I'm not a fan. He's a weight bully. He's a weight bully. He missed weight twice, possibly more times, but only twice in fights that have actually gone on to happen. But at featherweight, he has 3 fights. He's only 1-2. He's been taken down 14 times on 27 attempts. And guess what? Austin Bashy did in his DWS Fight Sniper. He landed 10 takedowns on 15 attempts, a shitload of control time. Who did I say that he was going to score like 139 points earlier? Was it Jacoby Smith? Well, if you put DFS points on Austin Bashy's DWCS fight, 144 points. Christian Rodriguez is in the 12th percentile. That's right, 12th percentile of takedown defense in the UFC. Hey, man, sometimes X plus Y just equals Z, and I'm playing Austin Bashy because he's less than 9K, and I'm hoping to see Christian Rodriguez get rinsed and repeat takedown here. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean,
and if that doesn't happen, play Christian Rodriguez, because that means Bashy can't get his game going, and Rodriguez might do something at 7,300.
Fuck that guy. Look, I don't think it's an all-in fight because Christian Rodriguez, just like you said, was taken down 7 times by Isaac Dolgarian,
a bunch of times by Pat Sabatini, like 6.
Yep, Jonathan Pierce took him down 6 times.
Yeah, that's what it was, Pierce. I always get those two confused.
Look, Bashy's going to shoot for takedowns. I think he's going to get it. He's 5'6", 145 with a 70-inch reach, and Christian Rodriguez is 5'7", and he's not going to, I mean, he might miss weight, but the shit he did to Raul Rosas was at 135.
Yep.
So he's at 145 here. He's not going to have, unless he could come in big. It would not surprise me at all if he missed weight.
He doesn't like featherweight, guys.
He doesn't. He likes tacos. This is Kelvin Gastelum Jr.
Yeah.
Look, I think Austin Bashy is live all around. I think he's an upside for the grappling. The salary is relatively reasonable at 8,900. It's below 9K. Little cautious because he's a debutante, like you mentioned. But I'll be on Bashy.
Love it.
And hopefully he doesn't smash my heart. I'm very sad. I don't want to do this next one, Monk. I don't.
Dude, I can't. Yeah,
I don't want to. All right. Let's just get this shit over with. Chris Curtis is going to win. Okay, Abdul Razak. Chris Curtis taking on Roman Kopylov. Kopylov, big old fat motherfucking favorite at minus 250. Taking on Chris Curtis, who's plus 210. Fight goes to decision, minus 180. Cool. DraftKings salaries, 9,100 for Kopylov. Excuse me? No thanks. Chris Curtis for 7,100. Oh God, do I have to? Let's go here. Let's do a little bit of wiki capping here. I'm going to start doing some of these. Roman Kopylov, not a ton of volume. He knocked out Josh Fremd, Claudio Ribeiro, Punahele Soriano, Alessio Di Carico. Cool. Was finished by Carl Roberson, submission, Anthony Hernandez submission. We're probably going to see a striking match here. Kopylov did take down Cesar Almeida, who is outgunned against him in the feet. Won a split decision, gassed out, looked tired, but Cesar Almeida, that's how people are going to want to fight him. Kopylov got it done. Props to him. Chris Curtis has 82% takedown defense. Split decision 5-round loss to Brendan Allen at the top of the division. Fun-ass, volume-based fight. Showed his toughness against Marc-Andre Barrio. He was going to lose this fight against Imavov. Little bitch move there. But again, I will say, as much as I hate Chris Curtis, he did get headbutted to shit in this Kelvin Gastelum fight.
He beat Buckley. Huge win.
Yeah. Beat Buckley.
Beat Vieira.
Knocked Buckley out. Who's finished Chris Curtis in the UFC? Nobody. He's been in there with some big motherfucking guys. I don't think Kopylov's going to finish him. They're going to be striking on the feet. You know, he did get masterclass by Jack Hermanson, but Hermanson that's among the best Hermanson has ever looked, by the way. It's probably the best striker he's fought, though. Like, clearly. But striker versus striker, this line is too wide. Chris Curtis is live, and I'm not fully a believer in Kopylov up at the highest levels of this division. And all those things considered, 7,100, I got to take Chris Curtis. And I legitimately hate myself for it. But he is one of my probably top dogs on the card. I will not make him my kill shot, though. Thankfully, just one out of spite, and two because there is limited upside if he wins a decision. So thankfully, there's that. What do you got?
True. Yeah, I'm going with the same. I actually picked Chris Curtis as well. I don't understand this line. I don't understand this salary. Why is he a minus 200 favorite or dog? Or sorry, why is he a plus 200 dog? I don't understand. Funnily enough, he's been a plus 200 dog or wider twice in the UFC, and guess what? He's 2-0 in those fights. So, yeah, Chris Curtis as a dog is kind of a mythical creature, to be quite honest. And now we have 7,100. This shit just doesn't make sense. He lost to Brendan Allen. He lost to Kevin Gastelum. He lost to Jack Hermanson. Like, other than that, this dude is, and he's not getting taken down by anyone less than people with pristine takedown offense like Brendan Allen, that kind of level. Nasruddin Imavov as well. I just don't get it. Kopylov's certainly not going to take him down. This is absolutely going to be a stand-up fight. Last thing I'll say is listen to these numbers. Just a reason why you should play probably a little of both sides, but honestly, Chris Curtis, because of the salary difference here. Roman lands 4.25 in the first, 4.3 in the second, 4.5 in the first. Curtis lands 3.5, 7.2 in the second, and 7.6 in the third. His volume is just going up and up and up. And both guys allow a ton of as well. Roman's kind of average at 4.5. Curtis allows 5.3 in the first, 7.7, and 6.8 in the second. So these guys get hit a ton. And if you're going to give me one of them for 7,100, a guy that's never been knocked out, he's not going to get finished in this fight, most likely. I'm taking that. All day.
Thank you for adding that. Not to
most
totally
likely. Yeah. So which is interesting because now in a cash lineup, hypothetically, we have Victoria Dudikova at 6,400 and Chris Curtis at 7,100. A possible cash stack at 83 and 79. You can do whatever the fuck you want with the rest of your money. You know what I'm saying?
It's not a possible cash stack. You have to stack the main event, but we're going to get there in cash games.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, let's talk Abdul Razak Al Hassan. There will be no stacking in this fight. Taking on Cesar Almeida. Almeida's minus 275. Al Hassan is plus 235. Fight ends inside the distance is a violent minus 200. It's actually a little bit lower than I thought it was going to be, quite honestly. Could be some value in that one. Your DraftKings salaries on this one: Almeida 9,300, Al Hassan 6,900. Monk, break it down.
Yeah, interesting lines here. The minus 200 ITD mixed with a minus 170 over 1.5 rounds means this kind of, Vegas does not think this is an all-in fight, which why don't they think a fight between two big strikers is an all-in fight? Well, they either think that these two strikers are going to look at each other and not throw anything, or they think one guy is going to wrestle. I guess they think Al Hassan's going to wrestle, but even then his wrestling numbers are so bad. Like we're talking,
he's mixed it in before.
He's mixed exactly. He's mixed it in where this is not something he relies on or should rely on. And Cesar Almeida is a dangerous striker for the most part. So
took down Buckley 3 times for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, that is true, but I just don't know, man. I don't see. I guess he's
not going to. And then he knocked out Ribeiro. He's not going to take down Joe Pyfer because why would you? And Brundage bitched his way out. He was going to beat the brakes off. He beat the brakes off of him.
Yeah, he beat the brakes off the back of his fucking head too. That's for sure.
Good, Cody Brundage deserved every bit of that.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, I don't know, man. I just think there's a chance that this fight scores well, but I also think there's a chance it doesn't. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna toe the line here. I don't like Caesar's salary. What are we, 93, 91? 9,300 is wild, bro. Al Hassan, you got to play, I guess, a little bit in GPPs for, he's so cheap and he can always land that shot. But I'm expecting Almeida to get it done here, to be honest. And these dudes are like 36 and 39 years old. So I was like, what the fuck is that? I thought there was a banshee in my room.
No, I went to just glance at some of my bets, and of course, NBA.com is like, hey, you want to see this video? It's going to be great.
So, yeah, I mean, Almeida, his wins are dog shit, Pateria and Budka, and his losses is against Kopylov. So I'm not going crazy with this one. I think he's too expensive. I'm treating this like a see what happens type. Cesar Almeida's got to show me something. God damn it. Because you know what? In his wins, what are we scoring? It's dog shit.
The reason
66 points against Pateria and 93 against Budka.
Because everybody dives at his legs the first round, and he's like, all right, let me see if I can finish you later. And that's the thing. Everybody can take him down. Somebody who just slightly mixes in the takedowns, like Abdulrazak Al Hassan, can clearly get them. You don't have to be a proficient wrestler to take down Cesar. Have you been training MMA for more than 5 years? You can probably take this guy down.
Yeah, but Razak Al Hassan doesn't really. He mixes. It's few and far between. He's got a lot of zeros.
But look, I'll just go to the last guy. When was the last time Roman Kopylov had taken anybody down?
Yeah, Kopylov. Jesus.
So, he took down Puna once. Oh, and he got done Albert Duraev. All right, a little more than, but that's pretty much the same level as he had going into the Almeida fight. That's the issue here, is that Al Hassan could do that, and then on top of that, Al Hassan, they get in a firefight. They both got crippling power. So I'll take a stab on Al Hassan in GPPs. That being said, my official pick is going to be Almeida. But I get why people are playing Al Hassan, and I'll probably be over on both guys. This is probably not an all-in fight, but this is a get over the field on both guys type of fight for me.
I think I misspoke, but I said Pateria. No, he's the only one that attempted takedowns was against Pateria, but Pateria attempted 8 against him. Kopylov attempted 9, and Budka attempted 6. Like all he gets is people diving at his fucking legs.
And Budka just got tired. It's like, wrestling's hard. Fuck, I forgot wrestling's hard. And all right, co-main event time. Santiago Ponzinibbio taking on Carlston Harris. Ponzinibbio minus 126. Harris is plus 106. Fight ends inside the distance. It's a close one at minus 130, so about 50-50 there. And your salaries for this one, this is the mid-range fight. Harris is 8,200. Ponzinibbio is 8,000. Who's first? I think I'm first for this one. You're going first for the main event, I believe. I'm a little so the line opened with Harrison as a large favorite. Harris is a large favorite. Everybody's bet Ponzinibbio. I'm a little surprised by that because I'm on the Harris side.
A little surprised by that.
Ponzi is slowing down. Now, I talked to somebody who's like, Carlston Harris is also old. I'm like, I get it. I think Ponzinibbio is maybe a little more fight old. I think Ponzi needs to win needs to land a knockout to win. I think Harris could grind him up against the fence, make it a dirty fight, potentially land some takedowns. It may not be aesthetically pleasing, but I think Harris has got more paths to victory, and Ponzinibbio is a little more reliant on a big shot or being able to keep space, which I think he's going to have a hard time doing in the smaller cage. Not a great fight, but for all of those reasons, I'm going to take Harris to pull what is now a small upset.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't have much to say about this one. It's a 3-star all around for me. I put both at GPPs, but I put Ponzinibbio as a GPP/fade. I just think if anyone wins, I think if Harris wins, he scores better than if Ponzi wins, if that makes sense. Harris actually, he has decent volume in round 1, terrible round 2s. Round 3 is really where he kind of shines for the most part. So if this does get into round 3, look for Carlston Harris to not slow down. We've seen Ponzinibbio just almost be dead to rights in there and then land a knockout shot to save his life in the 3rd round. So both guys kind of a little bit of a back and forth, but Ponzi really just has not looked good at all recently for the most part. So, I mean, he's 1-4 in his last 5 with losses to Muslim Salikov, Kevin Holland, Michel Pajeda, Jeff Neal. Those are decent names. His only win is Alex Morono, but he just hasn't looked good overall. And even when he's winning, he's not scoring well. In fact, it's very poor. So for the most part, his average per win, 87 points. And that's with his highest and lowest taken out. So yeah, kind of a meh fight. Give me Carlston Harris.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the main event. Dern Ribas 2. Ribas is the favorite. She won the first fight, minus 200-ish. Dern, plus 170, who is the Instagram champion of the UFC right now.
Is she with Paul Craig? Did you see these holiday photos?
No,
Her
what?
and Paul Craig with Christmas sweaters all like hugged up on a couch. I'm so happy for hilarious. Paul Craig. I'm so happy for him.
The conversations in English are the funniest conversations I've ever heard.
Good for Paul Craig.
The Scottish accent to the
speaking
Portuguese.
English, can't understand a goddamn word they're saying.
Let's just go in Fook. I got no accent skills. That's how I picture that. And good for Paul Craig. They just sit around trolling each other.
Yep. Scooching around all over the place.
No. You gonna tap? Nope. Let me take these off. Hey, quick, honey. Let me show you how I submitted Gad's Antigolov.
There you go.
Why didn't he just swallow this? Go. I'm losing it over here. Fight goes to decision. I supposed to transition.
I don't know, but I goes to
decision is minus 180. I didn't know that, and now it's all I can think about is minus 180. DraftKings salaries for this one: Ribas is 8,500, Dern is 7,700. Monk, where you going?
All right. Well, anytime there's a rematch, obviously we start. I personally look at the last fight where Mackenzie Dern did absolutely fucking nothing. Ribas just smashed for 15 minutes, like 5 strikes a minute. She took her down 2 times out of 2 times, controlled Mackenzie Dern for 2 minutes. She gave up. Mackenzie Dern, rather, landed 20 strikes. That's 1.3 a minute. No takedowns, and had 2 seconds of control time in that fight. She did absolutely fucking nothing. So yeah, Dern is probably the better specialist, but Ribas is no joke. I think she's a black belt in jiu-jitsu as well. And I think she's better all around. Like as an all-around fighter, I think she's like levels better than Mackenzie Dern. So she put up a damn good effort in the Rose fight. That was a 5-round fight. What was her score there? 67 in a loss. We'll take that. She was 7K. She almost 10x'd in a loss. So we love to see that. What are our salaries here? 85 and 77. Man, how much money am I leaving on the table in cash this week? This is fucking crazy. I'm really gonna have to look at this. I like Ribas though. I think she's fought overall. Well, let me look. According to the numbers, I was gonna say I think she's fought the better opponents. And yeah, the strength of schedule numbers definitely back that up. Overall, her takedown defense is fantastic. Her control defense is fantastic. if she doesn't put herself in a bad spot, how the hell is Mackenzie Dern going to do anything against Ribas? So, yeah, I like that. And since I mentioned it earlier, Dern did in fact score like 153 points in one of her wins. But if you take out that high and the low, she's averaging just 91 per win. So not too excited there. Give me Ribas for the repeat.
91 per is Dern's erection count per section in the stadium.
Also true. It's weird how that works.
It's exactly how that lines up.
Erection count. So stupid. That's so funny though.
It's like our boy Sun Tzu's Vaseline metric.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I want to pick Dern. We all know this. I admit to having inappropriate thoughts about Mackenzie Dern.
It happens.
A middle-aged man who watches UFC. It is what it is.
What are you supposed to do?
Here's the problem. I don't think she's going to get takedowns against Amanda Ribas. Didn't last time. Don't think she's that much better at it now. Ribas has improved. How's she going to win this fight?
Exactly.
I don't know how she gets the fight where she wants it. I think Ribas pieces her up. Maybe Dern takes more chances, gets more reckless, lands something big, a la the Amanda Bobby Cooper fight from a billion years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But if she that's really got to be Dern's game plan, and I don't know if she can do it. Go in, get reckless and aggressive, try and land something big, and fall into these takedowns. You try and be
it's not her style anymore.
Exactly. I get it. That's why I'm picking Amanda Ribas, but that would be the optimal game plan. I don't know if Ribas is going to find a finish. She doesn't need to push it. 5 rounds, stack it up in cash games. Good fight to target because of the salaries. Not a great one because Ribas could just land 110 strikes, nothing else, be done, get out of there with 70 to 80 points. Totally possible. But yeah, stack it up, place them both sides. Definitely lean on the Amanda Ribas side. All right, guys. That's all 14 fights. Broke them all down, but don't go anywhere yet. If it's your first time here, welcome to the show. Hit the like button, even if you are repeat customer. Like button, share with your friends. A kill shot. We have to do a kill shot. It is an under-owned play. Cannot be chalk, cannot be the main event, which are usually chalk. Fighter, you expect to win you a GPP. Doesn't have to be a dog, just has to be somebody people are not going to play that we think could land on the optimal lineup. Monk, do you have one locked and loaded?
Well, I do, but I don't know if it's too popular. If it's too popular, I have a backup. Is Puna Soriano too popular?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to get fucking people are going to hate this. I was going to say Chris Curtis, but we are anti Chris Curtis on the show, so we're not saying Chris Curtis.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Trey Ogden. I'm going Ogden over Moises.
Golly.
I know. I mean, there is the Parsons is there. Cagliari's there, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Ogden. I think that's a decent. I mean, he's a bit expensive for a dog, I guess. What's his salary? 79.
It's fine. It just underowned guy.
If it's too expensive for you purists out there, Ihor Pateria is my pick.
I think I have two. I have one that I probably the more realistic, and one that I just want to set the world on fire and watch it burn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give you both. Fuck it. First week back, a lot of weeks without. The more logical kill shot, Felipe Bunez, against the terrible takedown defense of Jose Johnson, as a dog, live to a big score that I think could go overlooked. That's more factual, not as exciting. What's exciting? Victoria Dudakova.
Yeah.
That's who's fucking exciting because no one's going to play her. She could be 3% owned. I firmly believe that.
That would be crazy. If she's less than 10,
she will.
I don't know what the fuck people are doing.
In GPP, she'll be less than 10. Cash games, I hope enough people listen to us and others to know what they're talking about.
Rips her head off, then cool, but I don't think that's going to happen.
She might, but I like to watch the world burn. So Victoria Dudakova.
Yes.
And that's what we got for a first show back in 2025. UFC Vegas 101, as I recently learned. Dern, Ribas 2. Monk, anything to add before we get the fuck out of here?
Nope. We're starting, the next 100 UFC Apex cards on Saturday. So let's go. 100 down, hundreds more to go.
They're mixing it up a little more in 2025.
Thank God.
Yeah, they're still mixed in, but listen. let's do this real quick. It's Vegas, Tampa, UFC pay-per-view Vegas, so it doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, sorry, I'm in upcoming. Sorry, I was reading the wrong schedule. Vegas, Inglewood, California, Saudi Arabia, Sydney, Australia, Apex card in February, Seattle, and then I do think there are 2 Vegas cards in March, but they could be moving them around.
Boy, another Texas card sure would be nice.
Yeah, it's hard. They're only booked out through March, and they got looks like they're doing a fight night in London.
That'll be cool.
So basically,
we like Patty Pimblett, and
we're gonna get the Pimblett might be pay-per-view worthy at this point. You're gonna get Molly McCann.
Yeah,
but you're gonna get a lot of Cage Warriors fighters on that card.
Yeah,
which will be good. Cage Warriors
Mason Jones, bring his ass back. I'm excited for that.
You're going to get a lot of Cage Warrior guys in that card. So, all right, guys, that's what we got for UFC Vegas 101. If you didn't already, I've asked a bunch. Hit the fucking like button. Share with your friends. We'll see you in the DFS Army Discord. VIPs members, ask us questions. And as always, guys, helmets at the top of the leaderboard. If you watch the show and you're not in the Army, I know you see the helmets at the top of the leaderboards. They're there every goddamn week.
Yep.
If not, make sure you're looking out this week. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.